221 million years ago, on the vast supercontinent Pangaea, the Triassic sun sets on the day's heat gives way to the perilous twilight, an hour of tension where all life prepares for the long, brutal night ahead.
For the Coelophysis, the small, swift dinosaur, the safety of the clutch represents the future of their entire lineage.
Their strategy is cooperation. By nesting together, they multiply their chances against the terrifying hunters of the dark.
Every member plays a role. The males become the vigilant sentinels, trusting their eyes and ears over the calming silence.
Instinct is their guide. They know the dangers lurking just beyond the protective perimeter of the nesting grounds. The water itself harbors the first, most patient threat, a creature built for the depths and the darkness. The Ruchiodon, a giant phytosaur, awaits, its ancient design making it the ultimate silent ambush hunter of the Triassic swamps.
Only the slightest movement of its powerful tail propels the Ruchiodon towards the shoreline, targeting the nearest nests.
Even the smallest nocturnal mammals seek deep cover, knowing that tonight, the large hunters are on the prowl.
But the greatest threat approaches on dry land. The undisputed Archosaurian tyrant of the region. The colossal Postosuchus moves with menacing confidence, its armored bulk impervious to the small, stinging attacks of its rivals. The collective scent of the nesting ground is a beacon for the hunter, an irresistible promise of protein. The sentinels sense the shifting air currents, detecting the heavy, unmistakable scent of the Archosaur approaching their precious sanctuary.
Every minute, every second of darkness, the vulnerability of the unhatched generation increases exponentially.
The mothers remain resolute, their maternal instinct overriding any fear of the looming shadows of the night.
Critical information is passed. A large predator is close. The pack shifts into its defensive formation.
Their strength lies not in size, but in unity. The pack is a single, cohesive defensive entity against the singular brute force. The Postosuchus registers the collective defense, realizing this nightly hunt will require more than simple intimidation. Meanwhile, the amphibious threat vanishes beneath the surface, preparing a deadly pincer movement on the vulnerable perimeter.
Even the background players sense the rising stakes. The impending clash of the giants is inevitable.
The fragile shells are all that separate the next dinosaur generation from total annihilation in the harsh Triassic night. The hour of the hunt descends, bringing absolute darkness and escalating the risk for every living thing exposed on the forest floor. Even the sky is patrolled, but tonight, the true terror comes from the ground and the deep. The Postosuchus closes the gap, its presence a guarantee of violence and destruction. They rely on agility and focused aggression, hoping to overwhelm the giant's senses and confuse its brute force strategy.
The aquatic threat sees only dark shapes against the moonlight.
The final standoff begins, a clash of evolutionary strategies in the darkest corner of the Triassic night.
The Archosaur makes its move, its brute strength intended to shatter the fragile dinosaur defense in a single, devastating push. The dinosaurs employ their hallmark strategy, distracting attacks and targeted, non-lethal strikes against the giant's weakest points.
The flank attack is launched. The Ruchiodon strikes with lightning speed from the water, targeting the most vulnerable area of the defense.
A desperate defense, the Coelophysis sacrifices its own safety to momentarily repel the aquatic menace and save the precious eggs.
Maternal instinct becomes the final, unbreakable layer of defense, guarding the future against the immediate threat. The disciplined pack refuses to break, turning their agility into a persistent, frustrating wall against the giant's single-minded attack.
The brute force predator is vulnerable to speed and distraction, its massive body unable to quickly adapt to the agile defenders. The phytosaur recognizes the sustained defense and opts to conserve energy, reverting to its patient, waiting strategy.
The balance holds in a tense stalemate, a battle of wits and coordination against raw, overwhelming power.
The massive hunters only focus on high-yield targets. Smaller, more agile life forms are largely ignored in the heat of the conflict.
The pack understands the true cost of failure. The longer they fight, the more silent predators are drawn to the scent of weakness.
Unable to break the defense, the archosaur displays its mounting frustration, its colossal energy wasted on the persistent agility of the dinosaurs.
The Ruchiodon shifts its position, exhibiting tactical intelligence, seeking a break in the defensive line where the light is weakest. The pack employs continuous rotation, a vital maneuver to manage exhaustion and maintain peak defensive capability throughout the grueling night. Every small danger is magnified in the darkness. The mothers stand firm, their bodies the final barrier between life and destruction.
The strange, glowing flora of the Triassic night offered the only faint illumination.
The archosaur must rest, its massive body demanding colossal energy expenditure. Even the mightiest exhaustion is the pack's deadliest enemy, a relentless internal pressure that threatens to unravel their disciplined defense. The Ruchiodon is ever present, its patience a terrifying counterpoint to the archosaur's brute force.
Momentarily distracted, the archosaur exerts its dominance on another passing target, venting its frustration with explosive, territorial force.
The pack retains its discipline. They understand that survival depends on ignoring the small tragedies and focusing solely on the core threat to the eggs.
The amphibious threat has found a new entry point, patiently utilizing the natural camouflage of the muddy bank.
A risky division of forces, the pack must allocate precious defenders to counter the simultaneous attack from the land and the water.
The amphibious attack is met with fierce resistance, the nimble dinosaurs working together to prevent the Ruchiodon from fully breaching the riverbank.
The archosaur observes the resilience of the combined defense, realizing the small dinosaurs possessed a level of tact. The Triassic night demands ultimate vigilance. The success of the dinosaur future rests on the collective effort against these twin titans.
The archosaur commits to a final, all-or-nothing assault, betting that the dinosaurs cannot endure another prolonged attack.
The pack stands as one, using every ounce of collective strength to meet the archosaur's terrifying, final momentum. The sunlight is their doom. The archosaur's eyes, optimized for night vision, are suddenly blinded by the dawn's harsh light. The aquatic hunter retreats to the sanctuary of the murky deep, awaiting the return of the life-giving darkness. The future is born in the light. Through resilience and cooperation, the Coelophysis secured the continuation of the dinosaur age.
The night is over. The dominance of the small, smart dinosaur is affirmed. The nightly siege is over. The archosaur has committed to breaking the defense with sheer.
The swift dinosaur meets power with agility, using its speed not to flee, but to launch strategic, distracting counterattacks.
The archosaur's immense size makes precise attacks difficult against the nimble, dodging targets.
Fear is a luxury they cannot afford. The mothers must contain their terror to protect the vulnerable eggs beneath them.
The amphibious menace exploits the chaos, using the land attack as the perfect diversion for its own brutal offensive. A fresh alarm. The aquatic threat has breached the outer defenses, demanding an immediate, dangerous response.
The pack's survival demands continuous tactical adjustments, shifting forces to meet the twin threats simultaneously. The unified counterattack forces the massive Ruchiodon onto the defensive, struggling against the relentless, distracting swarm of dinosaurs. Built for holding slippery fish, the phytosaur's jaws are slow and less effective against the agile, aerial maneuvering of the land-based dinosaur. The main defense is momentarily breached. The archosaur stands over the goal, its tremendous effort almost rewarded. A desperate intervention. The sheer survival of the bloodline rests on the courage of this single, exhausted defender.
The furious giant is forced to abandon its immediate objective, turning its immense energy toward removing the irritating, stinging distraction.
Sheer tenacity wins moments, and moments are all the nesting pack needs to regroup and close the breach. The brief, costly distraction buys the pack precious seconds to swiftly repair the defensive line and secure the future.
The coordinated resistance proves too much. The amphibious hunter retreats to the security of the deep water, plotting its next, quieter strategy.
No rest, no true victory. The immediate threat is repelled, but the long night is far from over for the weary defenders. The enormous exertion of the attack drains the predator's strength, forcing it to retreat slightly and reassess its costly offensive strategy.
The pack system sustains them. Injured members are immediately covered, ensuring the defense remains at full tactical strength.
The silent destruction of the nocturnal battle leaves its mark, a testament to the ferocity of the Archosaur's assault. The Archosaur understands it faces a challenge unlike any other, an intelligence that matches its own devastating power. Even smaller Archosaurs patrol the periphery, feeding on the lesser life forms and adding a constant, lower-level pressure to the night. The battle is not just against predators, but against the harsh Triassic environment, where a moment of neglect can doom the clutch. The greatest irony. The life they fight to protect is now nearing its emergence, increasing the urgency of their defense. The Ruchiodon will not be denied. Its ancient patience allows it to wait out the land conflict and strike when exhaustion is total.
The stalemate endures. Both sides conserve energy, waiting for the first sign of error or weakness from their opponent.
Leadership is vital. The pack leader uses subtle signals to maintain discipline and share the burden of the draining defense. The Archosaur resorts to psychological warfare, attempting to break the dinosaur's morale through continuous, powerful displays of territory. They ignore the provocation, trusting the strength of the pack over the terrifying, singular scent of the Archosaur. The perfect Triassic siege, power against speed, patience against vigilance, all focused on the fragile life within the clutch. The Archosaur reloads its massive weapon, waiting only for a lapse in concentration or the inevitable onset of fatigue.
The Phytosaur is a ghost, utilizing the river's labyrinthine path for a slow, inexorable approach to the unsuspecting flank.
Their communication is key. A continuous, low-frequency sound bonds the pack, sustaining their... The Archosaur reminds them of its true scale, a living mountain of muscle and armor, its shadow eclipsing the moon. They stand firm against the intimidation, understanding that breaking ranks means instant, total failure. The strange, cold light of the Triassic flora highlights the stark, sleepless vigilance required for their perilous defense. Despite the fatigue, the Archosaur's metabolism burns hot, sustaining its powerful frame for the final, inevitable rush.
The vigilance of the solitary sentinel is critical, acting as the pack's remote sensor against the unseen movement of the Phytosaur.
The cooling night air creates a veil of mist over the water, providing the Ruchiodon with the perfect, final concealment for its attack. The defense is a clockwork system. Fatigue is instantly managed, preventing any single point from becoming a fatal weakness. The Archosaur begins its final psychological assault, circling the perimeter like a giant wall, waiting for the defensive line to inevitably stretch too thin. The mothers remain resolute, their collective will hardening the center against the relentless, intimidating presence of the hunter. The amphibious trap is sprung. The Ruchiodon initiates its final, silent maneuver, timed to...
The synchronized attack. The land titan and the water menace strike at the same instant, maximizing the strain on the desperate dinosaur defenders.
The defense is pushed past its limit, every member of the pack fighting desperately to hold the perimeter against the twin assault.
An act of collective bravery. The nimble dinosaurs combine their slight mass to briefly destabilize the massive land predator.
The amphibious hunter achieves a painful, partial victory, securing a few clutches but drawing intense, renewed fury from the defenders.
The loss fuels their resistance. The pack fights now not just for survival, but for revenge, and to protect the remaining life.
The Archosaur is forced to concede ground, the stinging, coordinated attacks proving too irritating and distracting for...
The aquatic menace has fed, but its patience is spent. It retreats, leaving the land conflict to determine the fate of the remaining nests.
The Archosaur's colossal strength finally meets its limit. The energy demands of its massive attack have pushed it into a temporary state. The leader recognizes the crucial shift. The time for aggressive feints is over, replaced by the need for rigid, conserving defense.
A tense, weary stalemate falls upon the clearing. The most dangerous hours of the Triassic night still lay ahead.
Unseen by the combatants, the planet itself continues its slow, inexorable transformation, a silent clock ticking towards a larger catastrophe. Even in the deepest exhaustion, the necessity of life demands continuous, meticulous effort to secure the emerging generation. The hours dwindle. The balance shifts incrementally in favor of the vigilant pack, forcing the Archosaur to consider its retreat. The powerful predator knows the limitations of its night sight. Its supremacy ends the moment the sun breaches the horizon. The Archosaur must choose: risk exposure to the daylight, or retreat to the deep security of the Triassic interior. The pack's willpower prevails over the Archosaur's hunger. Their coordinated defense proves the ultimate evolutionary advantage. The signal is clear. Hold the line for just a little longer, until the cleansing light of the new day arrives. The environment itself begins to change, the cool night air giving way to the promise of warmth and safety. Every defender is pushed past their limit, sustained only by the primal need to protect the life that rests beneath them.
The amphibious hunter knows the game is lost. The risk of exposure outweighed the diminished reward of the dwindling nests.
The Archosaur yields to the rising light, its dominance confined once more to the limited, dark hours of the Triassic night. The relief is immense. The immediate, terrifying threat is gone, signaling the successful completion of the night's defense. The light returns, bringing safety and warmth, a silent witness to the tenacity and resilience of the small dinosaur defenders. After the long, brutal siege, the promise of the future finally begins to reveal itself to the victorious, weary pack.
The work of defense is over. The work of raising the next generation begins anew, in the light of the successful dawn.
A new life is born, the ultimate reward for a long night of sacrifice, secured by the power of pack unity. The small, coordinated dinosaur has proved its worth. The future of the Mesozoic era is safe.
The defense was successful. The dinosaur dynasty continues its inexorable march towards total global dominance.
The relentless, stinging tactics of the dinosaurs slowly begins to wear down the Archosaur's overwhelming physical advantage.
In the brief pauses between attacks, the mothers tirelessly manage the most fragile resource: the developing life within the shells.
The giant predator modifies its strategy, utilizing stealth and the deeper shadows to seek a less guarded entry point.
The aquatic threat remains the master of patience, waiting for the land attack to fully commit before launching its own counteroffensive.
The leader detects the Archosaur's shift in strategy, expertly directing the pack to match the threat's new angle of attack.
The dinosaur's inherent speed and efficient locomotion allow them to quickly redeploy, countering the Archosaur's attempt at flanking. The Archosaur's brute strength is neutralized by the sheer speed of the defenders. Its energy expenditure remains high and ineffective.
The amphibious threat, unseen and unheard, is now in prime position, its attack imminent against the thinned ranks near the water.
The inevitable, synchronized assault begins. The dinosaur pack is forced to fight on two fronts, stretching their endurance to the breaking point.
The water strikes. The Rutiodon's sudden ferocity creates immediate panic and chaos on the vulnerable riverside flank.
The brave defenders risk everything, sacrificing position to redirect the deadly amphibious predator away from the precious clutches. The land titan capitalizes on the chaos, sensing the final moment to shatter the main dinosaur defense.
The leader demonstrates ultimate courage, placing himself directly in the path of destruction to shield his pack.
The amphibious monster is momentarily neutralized by the aggressive, aerial assault of the nimble defenders.
The core defense remains unbroken, held together by the fierce, protective instinct of the mothers.
The Archosaur's costly charge is repelled. Its energy expenditure for this attack was immense.
The aquatic menace retreats once more, realizing the combined power of the pack cannot be easily bypassed, even with a surprise attack. The immediate crisis averted, the pack quickly restores its full strength, closing the gaps left by the twin assault. The leader calls for reserve. The pack must now endure the long, agonizing waiting game, conserving every precious ounce of energy. The balance is restored, but the cost was high. The pack now enters the deepest, most draining hours of the Triassic night. The chill of the deep night descends, testing the internal metabolism and stamina of every creature in the ancient valley. The constant battle against the elements is as vital as the battle against the predators, ensuring the fragile warmth of the emerging life.
The pack relies on shared thermal regulation, minimizing energy loss in the cold hours before the sun's return.
The Archosaur's colossal energy reserve is finite. The demanding, failed assaults have cost it precious, irreplaceable power.
The rising mist becomes a veil, protecting the Rutiodon and complicating the visual vigilance of the weary dinosaur sentinels.
Life carries on in the periphery. The small dramas of the insectivores continue unseen, providing a brief counterpoint to the central conflict.
Even under the ultimate pressure, moments of connection and reassurance are vital to maintaining the pack's collective mental endurance.
The predator attempts to rest, but the promise of the meal prevents true slumber, leaving it in a state of tense, watchful vigilance. The silent hunter is moving again, utilizing the cover of the rising mist and the Archosaur's momentary rest for a final, stealthy approach. The leader's acute senses detect the nearly invisible danger, forcing the pack to prepare for a third, unexpected aquatic assault.
The dinosaurs adapt their posture, maximizing their defense against the explosive vertical attack characteristic of the phytosaur.
The Archosaur senses the change in the atmosphere, realizing the subtle drama of the phytosaur's stealth attack is unfolding in the darkness. The water explodes. The phytosaur commits to a deep, penetrating strike into the heart of the riverside defense.
The defense holds through sheer sacrifice, the agile dinosaurs momentarily neutralizing the power of the amphibious titan. The resourceful dinosaur utilizes its environment, using mud and debris as a weapon to momentarily disable the suffocating bite of the phytosaur. The water fight is a desperate, messy struggle, the small dinosaurs fighting against the superior bulk and power of the ambush hunter.
The land titan waits for its turn, recognizing that the current diversion is the final, greatest opportunity to breach the weary land defense.
The leader performs a risky balancing act, thinning the center to reinforce the land front against the Archosaur's inevitable final charge.
The phytosaur is overwhelmed by the unexpected, aggressive counter-tactics, forcing a decisive retreat from the water's edge. The Archosaur unleashes its last reserve of power, committing to the final, all-or-nothing effort to secure the spoils of the night.
The pack uses its collective, lightweight mass as a strategic wall, successfully absorbing and redirecting
the ultimate test of wills. The small dinosaur's tenacity against the brute force of the largest land predator. The colossal predator is defeated, not by superior strength, but by the relentless, coordinated endurance of the dinosaur pack. The Archosaur sees the approaching dawn, the sign that its window of dominance is irrevocably closing for the night. The land titan yields. Its failure to breach the defense means an empty belly and a forced retreat from the rising sun. The final, long battle is won. The pack's tenacity has secured the future against the most powerful land threat. The aquatic menace retreats to the deep, its patience for the night exhausted, leaving the land to the rising light. The defense is over. The dawn breaks on a victorious, weary sanctuary, ready to welcome the new generation.
The prize of the long night's labor, a new life emerges, secured by the extraordinary collective effort of the pack.
A tiny, powerful testament to the superior evolutionary strategy of the small, coordinated dinosaur. The small, coordinated dinosaur has proved its worth, and the future of the Mesozoic era is safe. The night was survived. The dinosaur dynasty continues its inexorable march towards total global dominance.
The final, agonizing hours of darkness are broken. The pale light of the pre-dawn skies.
The immense Archosaur has spent its reserves. Its brutal dominance is nullified by the simple endurance wins the war. The pack's collective will has successfully outlasted the singular brute force effort of the tyrant. The archosaur yields to the superior light, its night vision a fatal flaw in the approaching dawn. Retreat is the only option left. The era of its nocturnal terror comes to an end. The land tyrant recedes, defeated not by strength. Discipline is maintained until the very end. The pack trusts nothing less than the total, irreversible retreat of their formidable foe. The water settles, washing away the chaos and revealing the river once more, now free from the lurking threat.
The amphibious menace retreats to the deepest, safest shadows, its ancient patience failing to outlast.
The time for defense yields to the time for nurturing. The mothers begin the sacred work of welcoming the new generation.
The battle is over. The dawn breaks on a victorious, weary sanctuary, the prize of the long night's labor. A new life emerges, secured by the extraordinary collective effort of the pack. A tiny, powerful testament to the superior evolutionary strategy of the small, coordinated dinosaur. The small, coordinated dinosaur has proved its worth. The future of the Mesozoic era is safe. The night was survived. The dinosaur dynasty continues its inexorable march towards total global dominance. The weight of the future has passed. The exhausted leader now rests, knowing the legacy of the pack is secured for another generation.
The Triassic day returns. A brief period of safety, where the sun's harsh light deters the powerful nocturnal hunters.
The archosaur sleeps, regaling its immense power, ready for the next cycle of predation when the darkness returns. The small wounds are a reminder that collective intelligence and speed can ultimately overcome singular, brutal force.
From the nest to the forest floor, the cycle begins anew. The hatchlings practice the very locomotion that secured their family's victory.
The teaching begins immediately. The lessons of the night are passed down, instilling caution and the importance of communal defense. The pack's unity extends beyond defense. Coordinated foraging maximizes efficiency and maintains safety, even in the daytime. The Triassic morning offers a brief, golden window of security, fueled by the warmth and light that banishes the nocturnal threat.
The world of 221 million years ago is defined by these cycles of light and darkness.
The remaining clutch waits patiently, knowing the pack is strong and the danger is now confined to the sleeping shadows.
The lesser creatures of the swamp also seek the day's protection, relying on the sun's harshness to deter their own nighttime predators.
The dinosaur's advanced locomotion, its upright, efficient gait, is the silent, lasting advantage that separates it from all its rivals. They move through a world of abundance, the reward for successfully defending their future against the darkness and the archosaur threat.
Apple. The phytosaur sleeps in the dark depths, its energy conserved, knowing that the cycle will inevitably bring the night.
The next generation immediately begins to hone its skills. The instincts of the theropod predator already sharp and focused.
The archosaur's powerful physiology sustains its bulk, but the heat of its existence makes it a poor competitor in the open, sunlit hours.
Leadership is knowledge. The pack relies on the wisdom of its most experienced members to navigate the challenges of the daylight world. The older world continues to graze, relying on size and armor, a stark contrast to the small dinosaur's dependence on intelligence and speed.
Though fragile, this new life embodies the fierce success of the Coelophysis pack, securing the future of the dinosaur lineage.
Rest is vital. The midday shade offers safety and a chance to rebuild the strength that will be desperately needed for the next nightly defense.
The memory of the night's battle remains etched in their minds, ensuring vigilance even in their brief moments of collective rest.
The evidence of the night's brutality remains, a silent reminder of the sacrifice required to win the ultimate prize. Even in its slumber, the archosaur's immense power is evident, a force of nature merely paused, not defeated entirely. The amphibious hunter waits, its patience a terrifying force, ready to resume its siege the moment. Midday offers peak protection. The sun's brilliance is the pack's most reliable shield against the nocturnal tyrants. The small-scale competition continues, but the large predators of the night remain confined to the dark and the shadows. Even in rest, the pack maintains a shared awareness, a network of senses constantly monitoring the perimeter for the faintest threat.
The brief respite of the day draws to a close. The long shadows stretch, and the deadly cycle of the